All right. In education, we share success and fear failure. But not every project, as you know, is a success right away. In fact, making mistakes and fixing them is the norm rather than the exception. So my talk today is about finding a different, more productive approach to make failure a success in learning. And if you look in the business world, there are plenty of books which talk about failure as a way to success. And in 2015, people even started a fail festival to share their failures and not their successes. And in 2017, just a few years ago, in Helsingborg in Sweden, a museum of failure opened to showcase failures and successes to help people. But in schools, in education, the books are more about failure, on how students, teachers, parents fail students. And we have a hard time accepting that failure is an option. So how can we find a more productive way to make failure? It turns out to be really hard to engineer learning about failure, as the designers of the first failure toy found out the hard way. A more productive approach has been developed by Manu Kapoor. Many of you know about productive failure, situations in which students first struggle through ill-defined problems, but then significantly better succeed in solving problems later. We, in our own work, in working with electronic textiles as part of the Exploring Computer Science curriculum, have observed many opportunities where students make failures in their projects along the way. Students, for instance, when they craft, when they design circuits, when they write code, make failures, and many of those mistakes actually intersect. They're not just limited to one domain. When we surveyed the projects in which students made those failures, we found that they're equally distributed. It's not just coding, it's circuit design, it's crafting, which constitutes a whole range of different experiences. And we observed that teachers who are working in those classrooms have a really unique way of dealing with failure. Many of them celebrated mistakes and even showcased their own projects and where they had made mistakes to make students more comfortable about mistakes. So we decided to take a more proactive stance in our current STEM+C grant called the Bugging by Design. We're not only asking students to experience bugs, we're asking them to make buggy projects for others to fix, and through that learn. So first we start with a hall of failure, where students report on all the problems they had in their projects, once or multiple times. And then we ask them, now make a project which has problems in it for other students in your class to solve. Then they fix a problem, and at the end they share their experiences about the failures you had, and what they learned from them and where they had resources. I'm showing you now actually, if the slide advances, hey, here it is. And it's called the Barfing Rainbow Cloud Project. And it's one of those debuggers, and it showcases different examples of failure. Some of them, like at the bottom, are just typical typos easily identified by a compiler, but some of them are also more complex. What did students learn? There were definitely a growth mindset. In the beginning, students were very upset, but later, when the project ended, they were satisfied and reported on learning more about mistakes and feeling more comfortable. Likewise, the teacher in our implementation observed that students liked messing with other people, but then also made connections across projects and different things. And with our collaborators at the University of Colorado Boulder, Mark Ross, who is here in Ann Eisenberg, people are also now developing different tools to help with identifying failures or mistakes, like customized multimeters or software libraries. In the coming year, we will actually implement in a quasi-experimental way debugging by design in different e-textile classrooms to see what impact this intervention actually has on students' learning as well as growth mindset. Here are a few takeaway messages for you. Celebrate mistakes, organize a hall of failure, share mistakes in your own projects, and have students even design bugs or mistakes for others. So I want to thank you, my terrific project team at Utah State, University of Pennsylvania, and Boulder. And next year around this time, we'll release all the instructional activities. Thanks.